Hi everyone, I am excited to come to you today with the Westknits Clue 1 Shawlography Mystery Knit Along progress. I know that everyone has different feelings about spoilers, and just knowing my own habits around letting YouTube cue videos play for a while, I didn't want anyone to suddenly look up and see a spoiler that they weren't wanting to see. So that's why this is in a separate video. So if this is something you're not looking for, if you don't want to see spoilers for Clue 1 for the Shawlography from Stephen Westknits, go on and watch another video. There are other podcast videos you can watch. Maybe if you're coming to this later, you want to watch a future episode. I don't know. Do what your heart tells you to do. But I'm about to show some spoilers, so you should probably go. But if you're still here, that means that we're going to have a lot of fun talking about this Shawlography mystery knit along. I have never done a Stephen West mystery knit along before. I just figured out that he's been doing this. I think this is for the 11th year, which is crazy and cool. And the surprising part about this is that I never thought I would find a reason to knit a shawl. Shawls seem very decorative and not as functional as cowls and sweaters and things in my head that seem more functional for a girl who's used to some pretty hard Indiana winters. If this is your first time tuning in, I currently live in Kentucky, but I'm from Indiana, and so I'm used to the weather being pretty harsh. Sometimes harsh in the winter and stifling in the summer, humid and hot, and then in the winter it can just get bitterly cold. And so I never thought a shawl would be something I would be interested in doing, but for some reason this really intrigued me, and it's probably that I know that I'm gonna get some dopamine from the release of each clue. That's probably what it is. So Clue 1 has 4 sections in it, and you start off here with section 1, which is just this little bit here, and he has you pick out 5 colors. And shawlography is obviously a play on the word choreography, and so he has you name your dancers, which are your main colors. And what I really like is the amount of freedom, not that you don't have this freedom in every project, but the amount of freedom that he encourages you to have around color selection and thinking outside the box, and even just going, if you miss a stitch, just taking care of it the way that most of us knitters do anyway, where if we have an extra stitch, we just kind of knit 2 together at the, before the end of the row, or if we're missing a stitch, to do an increase before the end of the row. Just that he normalizes that so well in his video tutorials. Also, I've heard from a lot of experienced knitters, even like definitely knitters who are at the same stage I am, where they're just like really digging into their skill set and learning and trying new techniques with each project, that the Westknit shawls are intimidating. And even from experienced knitters that I've heard that. And I just wanted to let you know that if you ever do decide to dive in, which I think you should, the video tutorials are awesome. He is so clear And even in the video tutorials, he'll show you how he would do it continentally or how he would do it if he were throwing. Honestly, I guess I should learn which style he even prefers. I think he's a continental knitter naturally, but he does techniques so that no matter what style of knitting you prefer, you can see it in a way that makes sense to you. And it's really, really helpful. So this is color A. Since there are 5 colors, there's color A through E, right? So this is my color A. Color B is this gray. Color C is the blue in there. And then color D is the green. And color E is this tonal purpley mauve. So I have all of them in a basket over here. I guess I could show you the skeins there. And we start out with section 1, which is this, it almost looks like a sunrise with the color that I chose. I really like that. And then you have these 9 wedges that you obviously make your shawl quite a bit bigger with those wedges. And already with just the end of section 4, this is a 32-inch Chagu needle, and I think I went up a size. Not that it matters that much with a shawl, right? Like, you don't want something to be supremely ill-sized as a shawl, but there's so much room for error, obviously. But I still sized up my needle size because I am still a pretty tight knitter, especially at the beginning of a project. And I'm glad I did that. It's pretty comfortable. I feel like the fabric is not loose at all. It's not like you can't see through it or anything. Well, I can, but you know when it's that close to my face. But then these wedges are just beautiful, and I love how he has this edging with it. It just makes it really pretty, and you can see the different colors all through the framing that color B does there. Then you get to your section 3, and you have these little stripes that are overlain by the blue little V's here. And I saw that he has these V's on a different shawl pattern that he's published before. So if you've knit that pattern, you probably know how this was constructed. And I'm not going to tell you how he constructed any of it. That's why it's a mystery. But if you I want to say that I thought it was going to be really complicated even at the beginning stages, and who knows, maybe later it will be really complicated, but at this point in time, and I'm sure the video tutorials are part of why this has been pretty smooth sailing. I've only had to go back in a row twice. I've only had to go back, I had to tink back in one row because I had accidentally picked up the wrong color. And then I had to go back half a row because I didn't read the pattern correctly, and so my stitch repetition was off. And after getting about halfway through the row, I thought, that's not right. So more power to the video tutorials, because after watching that, of course, I understood what I had done wrong. So I love the way these colors play together. I love the way that they look. I'm really excited about it. my husband tells me I wear a lot of gray, which is true. It's a very safe color to me, but I like that there's so much color amongst the gray. And when the gray comes back in, because these 5 colors dance with each other throughout the shawl, when the gray comes back in, I'm sure it'll still be beautiful. Section 4 has these loops, and I'm so curious to know what the next step for these loops are. Like, it was kind of a cliffhanger there, Stephen, to leave it like that. And you probably know that, but they look like little shrimp to me. I don't know what he's going to want us to do with these shrimp loops, but I'm excited to find out. Like, I keep thinking about it. Other people, think of problems that actually matter. I spend my days wondering how these loops will be incorporated into the pattern. I think it's just going to be so fun. And in the pattern, he has you use one of the 5 colors that you've chosen for the loops, or you can use a background dancer. So the way he was talking in the video, I have a feeling opportunities will come up again to be able to play with color in different ways. And I was excited that he suggested that background dancer option, because when I was picking out my colors, I was having trouble deciding if I should keep this one in, and if so, which one I should trade it for. And I just really like this color. I think it goes well with all the others. It's kind of this winey red, maybe purple. If you don't know, I'm a tad color deficient, so what you see may not be what I see, but all colors have a correlation on the color wheel, so it gives me a lot of comfort to know that it doesn't matter. As long as I like how they look, then that's the purpose. I did steam this before I came to show you, because if you've knit this, this area here looks kind of scrunched, I guess, because of the different stitches going on here. And these colors hide quite well if you haven't stretched, like if you're not stretching out your knitting. But steaming it for, I don't know, a couple of minutes made it all relax and just look like this beautiful sunburst. Oh my goodness. Looks like a beautiful sunburst. Yeah, and it just continues like almost like rays out. I'm so excited about it. The next clue comes out in a couple of days on Friday, and I'm just really excited about it. And I still am, I was gonna say in awe, but that's not really the right phrase. I'm still confused. I'm still surprised that a shawl is holding my attention right now. I have a few projects that I'd like to finish before the end of October, 4 to be exact. And even without the shawl, I don't know if I'm gonna get them done. But this has a grip on me. I'll tell you what, I'm loving it. And I love his mantras. I'm a coach, so I'm a little bit, I don't know, I'm very much into affirmations, and one of the things he says is say yes, don't stress. And that has actually really helped me. When he was first saying these mantras at the beginning of his tutorial video, I was just like, okay, all right, let's get on to the knitting. And because I'm super judgy. And I'm really thankful that he shared those at the beginning as well, though, because I obviously needed them because I'm ready to be my own little taskmaster when it's supposed to be a joyful knitting experience. So say yes, don't stress is one of the things that he says quite a bit in the video tutorial. And I think for someone who is intimidated by a Stephen West pattern, that it would be really helpful for you to know that he kind of coaches you through not only the techniques, like each step of this he showed in the video, and I can watch it over and over and over again. I can slow it down because it's on the YouTube server, and so I can speed it up, I can slow it down. If you don't know how to do that, you should definitely like go into your little, is it where the dots are in there? You can slow down videos, you can speed up videos. So if he's showing you something, I found the speed that he showed it to be just great. But if you think like, wow, I would like to see that in slow-mo, please, then you can slow it down. If you're like, I know how to do this, then you can speed it up. And the mantras are super, super helpful. Whenever he's talking about a problem you might encounter, say yes, don't stress. And then, of course, each piece of the shawl comes out every week, right? So in a couple of days, Clue 2 is going to come out, and I am so stoked about it. And one of the phrases he also says is, oh, now I'm going to forget it. It's not a race. Embrace your own pace. And as a slower knitter, I really appreciate that. I do often feel the internal pressure that I have on myself to keep up with certain things, and that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense because I'm knitting this for myself. This shawl is going to be mine. I don't know if other people are knitting theirs as gifts, but this is going to be mine because I'm already so stinking proud of it. Like, I'm already like wanting to like wear it across my back. So stinking proud of it. But I also am like already having to fight myself about figuring out how I'm gonna keep up with the pace, because obviously the shawl grows as you are knitting it, because we started with this little thing and now it's this little thing, and it's going to become a bigger thing, which is great. And with the one thing that I heard from a friend is that she said, oh man, it's so much yarn. And it is 5 skeins of 100 grams of fingering weight yarn. That is true. But it's so interesting. It doesn't matter. Like, I love this. And I knit socks all day. I'll knit socks all day. You know? How many socks is this? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Because I'm used to dealing with this weight of yarn. But it's on a bigger needle than I would use for socks. So it's faster. You know? Like, just let it be what you want. And let's just be honest with ourselves. See, I'm just going to wear it. I'll like just lay it on myself all the time. I think let me rephrase that. I want people to know that the way that they speak about themselves informs what they think about themselves, right? So when I hear someone say, oh, I can't do that. I can't do the Shawlography shawl. Like, that's Stephen West. That's complicated, or that's a lot of yarn, or that's not my colors, or that's whatever, First of all, we all know you can choose your own dang colors. That's the whole point of this. These are not the colors that Stephen West would choose. We all know that. And it's okay to just tell the truth about how you feel about it. So, not that you can't do it. You could do it. If it's something you don't want to do, that's okay. That's okay. You can just say, I just don't really have space for that in my brain right now. I think his shawl designs are beautiful. I'm not sure if I would ever knit one. It could be, you can just be honest about your capability at the same time as being honest about how you feel about someone else's designs and whether or not they pique your interest or not. I didn't think I would ever knit a shawl. I didn't think I would ever knit a Stephen West shawl. And then I was watching, is it Hanging by a Thread? I think her podcast is called Hanging by a Thread. I'm going to link it below. I love her podcast. Just as a very chill vibe. And she did The Fantastic by Stephen West. And her color choices were just so yummy that I thought, well, I would knit that. And it is big. It was big and it was beautiful. So who knows? After I finish this one, I may be casting on Fantastic. And then I'll have 2 shawls. And then I'll be, diving into all the other things I never thought I would knit. But I guess that's the whole point, right? Just exploring what you like. And that's what's cool about this mystery knit along is I am learning new ways that stitches can be used together, and I love it. I'm just taking it step by step, and it's going really well that way so far. But also, I am loving this design because it's not outside of my wheelhouse yet. I don't know if later it will be, but it's not outside of my wheelhouse. And I've only been knitting with a capital K for, what? A year? A year now? Yeah, maybe. A year and a half, I think. So, if you haven't done it yet, you should probably check it out. It's pretty great. But if you were just curious about what it would look like, then stay tuned. When I'm done with Clue 2, I'll be doing a spoiler video for that as well. And you can watch it grow with me and see what kind of backup dancer options we have. Yeah, I am in love with this. It's going to be so great. And I'm probably going to wear it all autumn and winter because it'll be the most beautiful thing I have ever knit. Feel free to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. And the regular podcast will be back next week. I will be showing you how far I've gone on my whips and show you 2 so far. 2 finished objects. Maybe I'll have more by next week. I hope so. I'm working on that bunny sweater, man. I'm working on it, but it's one of the biggest ones, so it's gonna take a minute. But anyway, I'll see you for the podcast episode next week, and I hope y'all have a fantastic evening, morning, afternoon. What is it he says in oh come on, The Truman Show? good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Yeah. Bye.